I mean, this is one of those questions that we get asked all the time. And I used to wonder a lot back in the early days, you know, how do you set a target? How do you know what the target should be for the business? How do you know what the girls should be bringing in or the guys should be bringing in? It is, you know, and we get asked a lot, and you know, I think a lot of the questions are, well, what would another salon have to bring in? Well, I mean, every salon is bespoke and unique, and their target will be different to one of the ones down the road, and it's something I always say to you, can you do a webinar on it?
Can you do a webinar?
I know. Well, because everyone always asks, but I know it's one of those questions that can't just be answered actually without looking at the business, you know, where the money's coming from, how it comes in, who brings it in, and so on.
And also, I mean, this is why I've kind of been reluctant to do a webinar on target, but maybe we do need to do one at some point, because it is constantly recurring.
Yeah.
I guess there's an element of, you can't compare yourself with another business, because they might have more outgoings than you do. They might have a higher price point than you do. Yeah. They might have actually less outgoing than you do. So we've got to kind of look at it on the one-to-one level. That's definite. But there are some key points. And also there's 1 million targets out there that you can calculate it in 1 million ways. There's no right or wrong, as long as it's a win-win situation. You're not losing money, or you're not increasing just because you want to retain the staff. There's a lot of those questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to retain the staff, so therefore I'm going to give them commission. But next thing you know, you're increasing your wage bill, and you're not actually bringing in more money.
Nothing
because
else
they're
changes.
just making, they're just receiving money for the sake of. So that's not good either. So to me, it also depends on the teams. So if the team is perhaps quite settled, they've never really worked towards target, you can't suddenly put a target in and say, well, I've done 10%, you know, they're going to get 10% on retail if they sell. If they never had that before, they're not really got that retail culture.
No, it's very
10%
hard.
of what?
Yeah.
10% of 250 quid, £2,000. It's like, it's so difficult to motivate a team that's never really had that thing before.
No, and just pulling it back from that slightly and taking a step back, when we've spoken to clients before, you know, they're even wondering just ultimately what should that member of staff be making. And there's a lot of talk in the industry, always has been, that it's 3.5 times the salary. But you know, what that looks like for one person looks completely different for somebody else, and depends on the treatments that they're offering, obviously the days they work, and so on. But it should still be reflective. But when we were chatting to one of our clients the other day, you know, whereas one of her members of staff could easily make that because they're skin and they're you know, they're churning in the money that way, the other one, who's just nails, really, very difficult to reach that figure. When you're doing such a low profit, low turnover treatment. So then it's just about then analysing that and seeing, you know, okay, so that's unrealistic, but what does it have to be in order for it to be reasonable? I mean,
the best way really to look at it is, of course, it's 3.5 times the salary. Is your staff member becomes more productive, and they're obviously kind of covering costs and over. But like you said, if you're purely doing nails, it's very difficult to cover that. Or in hair, if you're kind of a junior, you're not going to cover that. So you really need to analyse on a case-to-case basis. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can do the target on an overall business, and maybe against last year, I need to have a minimum of increase from last year of 10%. Minimum. Perhaps at the moment should be 15% and onwards with all the costs that have gone up. But if that doesn't kind of cover your costs from last year's figures, you need to look at your budget. What are your outgoings, and have a percentage against that. So again, it's not that simple to set, here's my target for the overall business. You've got to analyse it. But on a one-to-one basis, it's also the KPIs. If someone is really kind of achieving, let's say, twice their salary, but they are rebooking, they've got a good average sale, considering the amount of, maybe they just do nails, or not just, but maybe they mainly focusing
that's
on
what they
nails, or
specialise.
that's what they're specialising on, or lashes, etc. And they've got good rebooking, good reviews, good average sale. They're trying to retail. Then we've got a kind of profitable staff member in some ways.
Yes, yeah, and also looking at, not always looking at the ones that aren't performing. So okay, so the target on the salary is different, but then somebody who's maybe selling a lot of retail and somebody who isn't. Yes, we do need to focus on the training and so on of those who aren't, but the ones that are, really thinking about how you can charge that target up as well, and how, because maybe that person's not even on a target.
Yeah.
So actually, if they're doing well, and I mean, it kind of reflects from when we say when it's busy, that's not, or when it's quiet, that's not the time to sort of try and sell necessarily. It's when you're busy or trying to fit other things in. So it works in different ways in the business, doesn't it? But
yeah, my boss used to say, focus on the people that are doing well, because if you tweak them a little bit and really motivate them and focus them, they're the one bringing in the money. You don't need to train them necessarily. So focus on them. They're going to turn more money, and then you can take a little bit more time on the underperformers as such, or the people that need a little bit more support from you. But this is the thing, is eventually you need to kind of ask yourself, if a staff member isn't profitable and it's a long-term thing, how long can you carry that staff member for?
Yes.
That's the bottom line, is that ultimately, if we don't deal with underperformers, if we're happy with what they're doing and the KPIs, key KPIs that are actually okay and valuable, then great. But if it's not, how long are you going to carry that person for? That's a weight in your wage bill.
Yeah, absolutely. But also there's an element of, if that person, just again taking the nails, is you've put them on nails, they're good at nails, you need somebody to do nails, then maybe it's you taking a look at that and saying, well, what else can we add or recommend to cross-sell, or how can we help coach her in order to help her bring that average per hour up as such, her average bill up per hour. So it's just the thing is with targets is like you were saying earlier, there's not a golden nugget answer. Ultimately, unfortunately, it's analysing what you're doing as a business, what you should be doing, and therefore what the team needs to do, and analysing it in that way, isn't it?
And also making sure that it's consistent. And I think that's what we're finding with clients that come to us, is that they're looking at all of that, but they're not consistent with setting the target and revisiting. And that's why I'm a huge fan of quarterly targets. And even don't put the commission in the contract. This is something that you can review every quarter. Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe we need to tweak it slightly differently. Maybe we need to do an individual KPI. Maybe we need. So you've got to analyze, and if you do look at it per quarter, you've got more chance of finding the formula that really works for you and actually makes the business more and more profitable. So all you have to do now is press the subscribe button and join us every week for an Insight Chat.
And if you have any burning questions that we haven't yet answered, then just pop in the comments below or send us an email and we can include them in one of our weekly chats.
And also we have started this amazing community of like-minded salon owners to join us on a monthly basis with our Insight Chat subscription.
Yeah, on that chat as well, you'll also get access to lots of free downloads and content that can really support you in your business.
And thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.